Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and I have another awesome topics for you to share with you guys today. Now that the Sony E3 press conference ended yesterday, and I had about a good night's sleep to really think about everything I saw, just to get my thoughts straight, I decided to do a quick rundown of everything the press conference showed us, and just my initial thoughts on other announcements. So, starting off real quickly, the show started off very, very strongly. It had this really cool orchestra song playing, which I was kind of expecting what was the first thing that they were going to reveal. It had been rumored for like maybe the past 2 weeks, so I wasn't surprised when they officially announced that they are working on a new God of War. Why they didn't just call it God of War 4, I don't know. They just called it God of War. And apparently it takes place after the events of God of War 3, and now instead of dealing with the Greek era, we're now dealing with the Viking era. Kratos looks definitely a lot older than we saw him at the end of 3. And apparently he has a son now, and I think the thing that really made this game stand out to me is that they've really changed the gameplay. The gameplay is no longer at like kind of a third pace back camera angle. It's kind of like over the shoulder. And there's apparently some an AI cooperation system that they're going to add that allows you to control the actions of your son. And I even think there's going to be a chance for us to actually play as Kratos' son during the gameplay sections, because there was a lot of experience things that they were showing throughout the gameplay. So I'm definitely on board with it. You know, it's God of War. I mean, it's probably next tied with Uncharted and being probably the just quintessential Sony exclusive for the PlayStation. So I'm real pumped up to learn more about that as the months go along. The next thing they showed us is probably the first main, I'm hoping, exclusive for the PlayStation. It goes by the name of Days Gone. I wasn't really too impressed by this because at first I thought this was going to be The Last of Us. It actually looks like The Last of Us. The only difference that I've seen between The Last of Us and Days Gone is that Last of Us deals with those like clicker-like fungus like zombies, and then this one pretty much has standard zombies. However, the best thing that I saw from both the announced trailer and the gameplay, which they decided to show at the end, which I thought was really weird that they would split them up, is the visual look of the horde of zombies and how they actually move. This game looks like it can handle a lot of enemies on the screen very, very well. If you've seen the movie World War Z starring Brad Pitt, any of those scenes where you see this wave of zombies heading your way, it looks exactly like that, and it looks terrifying. This does not look like something you want to hold your ground and try to fight them all. It looks like you'll be doing a lot of running. So I think that if they can get that mechanic done right and it gives us much more variety of sections, then I think that Days Gone will really be a very interesting game, especially in this kind of time when everything likes to use zombies. But that did look kind of impressive once I saw that. The next thing that they followed up with was giving us a release date for The Last Guardian. I didn't really need to see any more gameplay from it. I just need a release date, and we now have it. It is coming out this year in October 25th. I've already got my collection edition for that pre-ordered, so I'm good and I'm set to go. After that, they showed us another game which we saw at last E3. We saw a little bit more of Horizon Zero Dawn, and they just showed us a little bit more about what our main character is going to be doing, a couple of the creatures that we'll be dealing with, how the gameplay mechanics work, and maybe a new enemy that we'll have to contend with over the course of the game. That's another game that I've also pre-ordered the collection edition for, so I'm all set for that too. And this was actually one of the next game that we have here, as one that I was the most impressed with, because I really want to see what Quadric Dream is going to do next with their next title of Detroit Becoming Human, because I think that Quadric Dreams does an incredible job at creating story-driven games that require the player's influence in order to drive the main story. Now that's something that not even Naughty Dog or Santa Monica Studios attempts to do. So the fact that they're still continuing their tradition that they did in Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, but we're dealing with an android who's going to have to make a number of really key choices, I think is going to be very, very fascinating. For me, I was kind of getting the vibe of like what it would be like if you played Norman from Heavy Rain, but he was an android and he had to get out of these really dangerous situations to become a detective. I'm really looking forward to that because I absolutely love mystery games. So I can't wait to see more about that. Hopefully we'll get a release date for that soon. Now, the next section of the show was probably, in my opinion, the weakest, because I'm really still not sold on this whole virtual reality thing. They gave us a price and a release date for the new VR headset. It's $400. I think it's coming out like October or November. I'm not going to buy it at first. I'm not even sure if I want to get this because I'm not buying it. I don't need to have something and headsets in order to enjoy a game. I have a 45-inch screen television. It's good. I still enjoy playing games on it, even first-person shooters. So the VR experience is just something that I don't need to try or experience in order to enhance my gaming. But the first game that they showed off was, to my shock, because I thought they were going to announce it at Tokyo Game Show, and that was Resident Evil 7. It looks like Capcom was serious in wanting to go back to their horror roots, because from what we saw, it is going to be pure horror. Now, I hope that the gameplay that they've allowed us to play, I hope that is not the final gameplay, because this does not look like it takes place after Resident Evil 7. And I know that they've gotten a lot of bad press because they say that it's too much action-orientated, but I would prefer they go back to how it was in Resident Evil 4, where it was a good mixture of both. That's what I would prefer Resident Evil 7 to be. If it goes back to how it was with the first 3 games, then this is a game I'm probably not going to want to play, because I've tried playing Resident Evils 1, 2, and 3. I didn't really enjoy them because of that. This is just how those games were built at the time, and I just don't want to go back to that style. So if they can keep a balance between the action and the horror, but put it in horror settings, then I think that's something that I can enjoy. But just from what I've seen, I'm not impressed. The next game that this showed off was a exploration game called Farpoint. Didn't look all that impressive, just space exploration. You're playing as a scientist on another planet, and some crazy stuff happens, and there's some shooting, and it has some nice visuals, but there's really not much I could say about it. Now, the next game was something that I was sure I was going to hate, because the internet has been hating on this big time, but I would be lying if I said that this did not look incredible. And that was, they showed off Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Now, I'm not sure if they were doing this all with the virtual reality. I'm sure they were. But as much as I'm pumped up for Battlefield 1, and I've already pre-ordered that too, this definitely looks like a solid rent. But if it can impress me enough, I might consider buying it, because it is going to come with the HD remastering of Call of Duty 4, and I want to play that so bad. I just hate the fact that they want us to have to buy one game in order to get another game, which I think more people would be more interested in playing than this next game. But I will say, I did think the showcase of the gameplay of it taking place in space, and there's a bunch of spaceships, I think is pretty badass. So I am going to be somewhat excited to play it when it comes out later this year. The next set of announcements in the final section of the conference was in my opinion, the highlight of the show, because they announced that they are going to be remaking the first 3 Crash Bandicoots from the ground up. So, I'm pumped up for it. I think the little Easter egg that they gave us at the end of Uncharted 4, I thought that was fun. So to get a chance to replay those games with updated graphics on the PlayStation 4, that's going to be a must-buy for me. But without question, my favorite moment of the conference was when Hideo Kojima came out. He got the biggest pop of the entire conference. I was up. I mean, I saw this at work, so I was cheering. And he was walking a little bit too fast, because they had it so that the platform had these like squares that were supposed to come in front of him. He was walking a little too fast for him, so I thought that was like maybe a tiny mistake on his part. But he showed up and he said he was back, and he gave us the announced trailer for his next game, or the first game for Kojima Production. It's titled Death Stranded. And it's going to be starring Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead. And I thought it was the perfect, screw you to Konami. Because it was like, oh, you want to cancel my Silent Hill game that I was working on with Norman Reedus? Fine, we'll make another game that looks even more interesting, and we'll do it with him. And I thought it was just, it was the highlight of the moment. That was the one moment that I had wanted to see from this conference, and I got it, and I'm on board. I just needed to know a name, what this game is going to look like. I'm probably going to get more details as the months go by, but I'm on board. I can't wait to learn more about this game. And the last real major thing that they announced was that they were making an exclusive Spider-Man game. I'm surprised Sony didn't do this sooner. I mean, Sony technically still owns the rights to Spider-Man, even though they're kind of partnering with Disney's Marvel, but they still do own the main rights. So we're getting an exclusive Spider-Man game. Heck, they've made a lot of really great Spider-Man games that I've enjoyed. Even the most recent one, which, as flawed it was, it still felt like a Spider-Man game. And then the show pretty much closed with some gameplay of Days Gone, which I thought was weird. So overall, I'm not going to say that the Sony press conference was the strongest that I've seen from them, but it was a very safe conference. I think they spent a little bit too much time on the VR, because they went into more detail with a bunch of other games, like a Batman virtual reality game, being able to play Final Fantasy 15 with virtual reality. I just think this virtual reality gimmick is not as impressive as people would want it to be. But everything else, a couple of really great announcements, some release dates. So overall, I really did enjoy the Sony press conference, but I won't say it's the best press conference from them that I have seen in like the past 2 to 3 years. So those are just my initial thoughts on it. I really like to know what was your favorite moment of your Sony press conference experience. Share your thoughts with me in the comments down below, and if you like this video, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to check out my future videos. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.